party till I give my money right.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Quantum Ascend. I have BNB Binance token up on the screen here. And man, this thing has been a monster since its inception back here in 2017. I remember back then I was using Binance. Binance without USD is when you still had to use different pairings. So I had to switch everything in and out of BNB. And so I had so much BNB at like $2 and now it's 880. It's just sickening to think that all I had to do this whole time was hold an exchange token, but it is what it is. So I've had a tough time with this count here. I think I finally got it figured out though. What it looks like is we're moving in some ABCs here. And for the larger count, it's a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and right now we're working on a macro 5 for BNB. There's a couple other alt counts you could look at there. Like if you wanted to look at this as like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you could, but not super impulsive there. Pretty extended fourth wave from, it's like a year. I guess that's not terrible. But then you look at this drawdown here and you say, all right, you could have maybe a little 5 wave move. Just not a whole lot on this next one. Everything looks like it's ABCs, this way up, ABC, right? So, and then where we'd be going from here would be a little murky. If this was then like, that'd be the macro 1 there. You'd be at 1. This would be technically the macro 2. You could look at, I guess you could say that's 3, 4, and 5. This just doesn't look complete relative to what we did back there. So my base case for this right now is I do believe that we're going into a macro wave 5 for BNB with some ABC movements here, like so. All right, so now what we want to figure out is what's going on the shorter time frame stuff. These are 2-week candles, okay? So pretty long-term chart here. This is the 2021 high. We just recently broke out of it. So let's go right there, right, yeah, bam. So we're technically already off into this blue macro 5th wave. You can see that we got rejected there, got rejected there, got rejected there, finally popped through recently. And the good news is BNB is usually an early mover for the altcoins. So you see BNB going, well, should mean that the rest of the market's coming here soon. So right now what we're looking at across the board is we're talking about the macro wave 3s, right? There's the 1, 2, and right now we're in the middle of a 3rd wave before we go 3, 4, and 5 like so. So what we want to figure out here in this video is where are we likely to stop out here in the 3rd wave? Where are we going to drop to in the 4th wave? And where is our final target here on the 5th wave for BNB? So we're going to jump into that here in a second. But first, guys, join the Quantum Circle, entries, exits, strategy, emotional, mental clarity, 2 daily macro videos. Link to that in the bio. You got to know what's happening with the macro in order to figure out what's going on with your alts. We do a ton of research on there to show you guys the high time frame stuff. All right, waves 3, 4, and 5 now for BNB. Let's go back to the past here. Want to check a couple things. This blue macro 1 to 2, want to make sure we close that range out. Yeah, way more than close the range out. What actually ended up happening here for BNB, and you can see this, we talk about this in my group, but you can see this sometimes on the 3rd waves, is if we pull this fib up, the 236 to the low there, where are we at? That even extended that. I think the one I'm actually looking at is this A to B wave here. So we draw that out. No, nothing. I pull this up to the 236. There we go. Right up there. See where we get stopped? On this move here, a full extension, and that's during this 3rd wave. So normal fib would be down here, right? We have the 1 at the top, the 0 at the bottom. But in certain blow-off scenarios, and BNB did it, we can go a real big extension there on the 3rd wave, and that's what happened. So some of you guys that are screaming online it's impossible for this stuff to hit these prices, okay, right here alone, February of 2021 to May of 2021, this went a 15x. That was just in the middle of a wave. It went 15x, and that was a pretty decent size market cap too. So I don't really want to hear it, guys. BNB, like a lot of these alts, they're going to go, man. And it doesn't take long. That's 2-3 months right there of price action, 15x, right? Okay, so you can see we closed out that range. The last range that we have here is this drop on 3 to 4. So what we got to do is let's pull this there, pull it there, and boom. What we have right now is a pretty conservative estimate for BNB. It is an $85 million token. Excuse me, $85 billion token, right? It is up near, it should be, I believe, in the top 5. Let me look real quick. Number 5 on the dot here for BNB. So, I mean, just massive, massive market cap on this thing. Third wave. We're talking about this a lot of the time right now. We want to take a drawdown here on waves 1 to 2. And you can see, wow. Doing this on a lot of other analysis, guys. A full extension of this first to second wave gets me right out here to the 1618. Typically, how these things move on the broader context is we look to break above that last local high to the 1618, and then we come back to back test it. Well, that's kind of what we're in the process of doing right now. We're headed up towards this area. Is that where we're going to find resistance before we roll over in a wave 4 and then go on to wave 5? Because BNB, a lot of the alts guys are down here right now, right? They're down here. This guy is all the way up. It's already broken past its 2021 high. So let's see if it gets up here, and then there's a little bit of a rotational moment. This is a large cap. It's a top 5. Obviously, we talk about Ethereum and a lot in XRP and stuff like that. But BNB, I mean, you're up 47% since the end of June, right? So let's see if we get up there. I'm looking, and that's a nice round 1,009. So people are going to be looking for $1,000. Do we stop just short at like $9.95? Maybe. And then typical of a fourth wave drawdown is you're looking at 35 to 50%. This is a big coin, probably going to be closer to that 35%. Again, we want to come test this level. I look at that. I see 32%. I go a little lower to this B wave. Well, puts us pretty close there to that 35, 36. I'm looking on top of this guy right there. Where does that bring it? We'll say $650. So could see this guy coming back down to 650. Could stop out at that prior all-time high as well. And then we go on our fifth and final wave up there to $2,300. What does that give us for each wave? Wave 1, pretty weak, 117%. Wave 3, right now, 402% or a 5x. That would leave wave 5, 265% or 3.6x. Wave 3 would be the longest. Wave 5, usually 1 and 5 in a typical 5-wave impulse are going to be similar in length. Wave 5 a little bit longer here. So let's see. I mean, if this third wave gets up to here, right, then we're going to have to adjust wave 4 and stuff, and then that might be a little bit closer. Let's see, 117%. Yeah, that would be like wave 3 going up here and then back testing this to make 1 and 5 the same. But we'll adjust that if we have to, guys. But this is exactly how it should be looking right now. Really like the strength that we're seeing out of BNB here. And we should, I mean, guys, all the macro charts are pointing to more upside. They're all saying that our time, our time might be short-lived on the macro, but we definitely have some juice coming to these markets here before everything falls apart. So that's how we're looking for BNB, my friends. Run up to a G, back down to about, where do we have that at? Right here at this high, 650. We'll stay at that 700 at that high there. But keep 650 in mind if we get a little throw over. And then one more run up to 2341. That is it, my friends. Like I mentioned, join the Quantum Circle, real-time trades, access to my portfolio, 2 macro videos a day, a Discord channel. Teach you how to do TA just like me. Link to that is in my bio. If not, super appreciative you guys are here. If you could follow, like, repost. I want to get this info out to as many people as I can before it's too late. So hope you guys are having an awesome Monday. I'll talk to you in a bit.